Democratic Alliance, the DA, hates transformation and also hates black people. Greetings, guys. Welcome to the platform, the agenda. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and comment, guys. You guys have seen that the DA today being the 6th, yes, today being the 6th of May, the DA has gone to court. The DA, they've gone to court to challenge the amendments to the Employment Equity Act. And it is not just that they're opposed to the Employment Equity Act, that is being the DA. They're not just only opposed to the amendments that have been proposed and that have been passed to amend the Employment Equity Act, but the DA is also opposed to the Employment Equity Act itself, the original act itself. You see, and it is not surprising, any honest person will not claim to be surprised by the fact that the DA is opposed to the Employment Equity Act. This is so because the DA over the years, the DA has consistently demonstrated, not only in words, but in action, that they oppose transformation, they oppose any means to redress the injustices of the past. By the injustices of the past, we are talking about colonialism, which later, of course, morphed into its own other manifestation, which is the apartheid. But we should not make a mistake of divorcing apartheid from colonialism, because apartheid was just a continuation of colonialism under different means. You see, so the DA, its own existence, it exists to defend the status quo. What is the status quo? The status quo, it is that you've got a minority which are white people, Europeans. And it is not me or any other black person who's been calling them Europeans, but it is they themselves during colonialism and the apartheid who identified themselves as Europeans. And indeed, they are correct because they are Europeans. They are not natives of this land. They are not Africans. So the status quo is that you've got these Europeans who invaded this country, therefore dispossessed black people. Not only that, murdered black people in numbers, committed genocide against black people, therefore subjecting the remaining black people into the conditions of slaves, because they had dispossessed black people of their own means of production. They dispossessed black people of their own means of subsistence, therefore creating a dependency where now black people who are natives of this land, the Africans, find themselves having to sell their labor to this invading group for survival. That structure even today remains intact. It remains intact 31 years into the so-called democratic dispensation. Each and every state, credible states, not propaganda that is spewed by racist formations like AfriForum, the DA and others, points to this, that black people are still at the bottom. Black people are still at the bottom of the food chain when it comes to the economy, when it comes to the ownership patterns. You see, in fact, since 1994, even the situation has gotten worse. white people have gotten richer. And not because of their sheer brilliance, no, but because colonialism, as I've stated, and even through its own different manifestations such as apartheid, it deliberately crafted laws and legislations that prohibited competition from black people. Laws and legislation which prohibited the development of black people. Therefore, handing white people an unfair advantage in terms of the ownership patterns in terms of the economy. Only whites were allowed to own the land and the productive land and different industries and sectors. Even in terms of labor, legislation was crafted, such as the Skills and the Job Reservations Act, where certain jobs and skills were reserved for white people at the expense of black people. You see? And you understand that this took place over 400 years. Right? So, of course, logic dictates that when the 1994 dispensation kicks in, one of the things that you need to do to ensure that you redress the injustices of the past that were meted out against the natives, it is that you need to come up with legislations such as the Employment Equity Act. You see? To level the playing fields. Right? It is logical. You see? Because, again, who's the majority in this country? It is African people. It is black people, the natives of this land. But when it comes to the ownership of this economy, when it comes to the structure of the ownership of this economy, black people are nowhere to be seen. The economy is dominated by a minority group. And that minority group is not dominating through its sheer brilliance, no. But because that group is a beneficiary of the laws that were crafted to hand unfair advantage to that minority. It is this what the DA is opposed to. The DA is opposed to black people being brought into the ownership of this economy. The DA subscribes to the notion, to the racist notion, that black people are incapable and are not worthy or deserving of owning the economy. The DA subscribes to this racist notion that black people are supposed to be just cheap labor. Cheap labor at the disposal of the white minority to continue to generate wealth for the white minority. This is what the DA is going to court for. It is saying white privilege, white supremacy should continue unchallenged in this country. That is what the Democratic Alliance is telling us. You see, that is what the DA is telling us. And you've got black people who run after the DA. And there's no saving them, because despite of these things that we continuously and consistently tell them, they choose to close their eyes and their ears. Yet they've got the audacity to accuse the NC's voters and members. Right? They accuse them of being brainless. But to me, they are not different to what they are accusing the NC supporters of. Because as a self-respecting black person, how do you do that? I just wanted to clear that one. Thank you for staying with me, guys, through this video. Please remember to subscribe to the platform, guys. Let's grow the platform. Please remember to like, share, and comment. Siyabonga ma-Afrika, izwe lethu.